Hey everyone, we just have two simple jobs to do today. That's take off the wings and the bumper and drop the subframe to get the steering rack out. But can we do it? Will the weather hang out or hold off? Let's find out. Okay, so we have almost all our parts. We've got our wings, they've both arrived. We've got our front bumper, we've got our wheel, we've got the driver's side door, one more door to come and one more part to order, and that's the steering rack. But the only way I can order the steering rack is to drop the subframe. So today, two simple jobs. Take the wings off, the old wings off, that way I can see how the new wings will go on. Take the front bumper off, take off all the shielding underneath as well, and then drop the elusive subframe. That's going to be the trickiest job of the whole thing to do, so not really looking forward to that, but it's going to be done. So we're going to drop that, and then once we get that subframe out, we can then see which serial number I need, or which part I need to order for the steering rack, because there's about 7, would you believe? You need to get it right. So without further ado, let's go outside and let's get this car stripped and ready for the next part of the build. Okay, so that is the body panels now taken off. Now for the more difficult part, the subframe, and subsequently taking out the steering rack. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so that's the subframe is now loose. So I've got to now drop these 4 bolts so that the subframe can come down, and then I can take the steering rack out. So that's the reason why I've been working under the car, to try and get the steering rack out. If I can get the steering rack out, I can order a new one, and the steering rack is the last piece that we need. So let's go and do this. Now, I'm gonna need my heavy duty jack because the subframe is quite heavy. Let's do this. Okay, so I think I've only got 2 more bolts to undo now. So if I can show you where they are. So one of them is this bolt. If you can see my hand here. Nope. So that bolt there, I've got to do that, and then the other side I've got to do the same. So I'm going to do that off camera because it's very difficult to show you what I'm trying to do on camera and hold the camera at the same time. So back in a sec.
1 hour later.
Okay, so almost done now. Just got to take off this steering rack. Now normally I would be using a separator, but because I'm scrapping this steering rod, I'm just going to use a hammer it out, so I'm not really too fussed about whether it survives. But I've left a nut in there. Actually, I don't need to leave the nut in there, but I'll leave it in anyway. Let's take it out. This power ratchet is brilliant. It really has helped. I'll put a link in the description below, and you can see where you can get this. Right, that's done. I've got one more bolt to do on the other side, and then hopefully the subframe should come free. Let's go and do that now. Woo! And there we have it. One steering rack taken out of the car. That was a job and a half, but it's done. So now the steering rack is out of the car. I can now inspect it to see what part number I need so I can order a new one. So let's go and take this into the workbench where it's nice and dry. Okay, so here is the steering rack. So this is the last piece that I have to get now, and this is the one that caused all the hassle. Had to drop the steering rack in order, or the subframe in order to get the steering rack out, which is a real pain. You got to do that on a lot of cars these days, but hey ho, that's the art of modern technology. So if you look at this, this is the reason why I'm having to drop the steering rack, because this was broken, sheared, cleaned off when the car had an impact on the near side, and there's no serviceable parts inside here. So the only way you can get that fixed is to replace the whole steering rack, which is what we're going to have to do. So I needed to get this off because there's a number of different parts that I need that could possibly fit this one. We need to get the right one, and the only way to do that is to drop it. So now that I've dropped it, you can see the part number clearly. I can now go and order my part, and then the reassembly can start. So very happy to get that out, particularly with the weather not being so great. So that's a relief. By the way, here's one of the doors. So I've got a new door. So when Sean, my painter, when he paints this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of these, I'm going to take the speakers out, because I want him to paint around the outside as well, all around here. So what I'll do is I'll strip all of that, so it makes it easier for Sean. He can get on with it then much quicker. But I will leave the switch in place so that Sean can drop it. That's quite important. He needs to be able to drop it. But you can see the internals of the door and all the different modules that are needed. Quite interesting, that, isn't it? And then this is the inspection panel. You take this off and you can get to the running gear for the window. And then under the car you can see the subframe just sitting there now, so I'm going to leave it like that for now. No need for me to really move it until the steering rack comes. But what's made this job so much easier is having this ratchet and this impact gun. This impact gun was relatively cheap. I'll put a link below so you can get it. It works very weird though, not like a normal impact gun. So a normal impact gun will ratchet every single, you feel it straight away. With this one, what it does a complete rotation and then whacks, and that impact really does up the Newton pounds. So I think this gun is rated at about 400 Newton pounds. Oh yeah, 400. Can't see it. See if I can zoom into it. But 400 Newton pound, and it really does pack a punch. The only thing I would say about this is that the battery doesn't last long, but I understand you can get a better battery for that. But very impressed with that. Very good tool to have in your arsenal. Okay, so that is it for this week. So we've accomplished everything that we wanted to do today. We have taken off both wings, front bumper, and more importantly the steering rack. So now I can order the correct part. So next week we're going to be doing some stuff on the TT, because I don't think we're going to get the steering rack in time. We might do. If we do, I may put that on, it depends. But there's a couple of jobs that I need to do on the TT, and one of them is to resolve the windscreen wipers, or the windscreen wiper motor. You know what I mean. Okay, so if you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe, because it really helps out. And this week we had a milestone. We reached one of our milestones, 300 subscribers, which is really great. Thank you very much. And I appreciate all your comments below in the section below in the comment section, and I try to answer as many of those, if not all of those comments, while the subscription base is low. So don't forget, suggest if you'd like to see what you'd like to see next on the channel. We've got lots of things coming up, so really looking forward to producing that material. So have a good week. We will see you next Monday, and like I said, don't forget to subscribe.